Hello, my name is Lincoln, and this is my submission for Shards of Summer, Week 2. This week, we were challenged to channel our inner Yumi and go out and stack lots of rocks in nature. If you've read Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, you know that Yumi is really good at stacking rocks. And if you've read all of Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, then you know that right at the end of the book, we find out it's not just because she's been practicing for 20 years straight. It's really because she's been practicing for 1700 years straight. And that means Yumi is really good at stacking rocks. I'm an overachiever, and I want to be good at stacking rocks too. But I've gone ahead and developed a 1700-year training regimen where I can just practice stacking rocks for 2 millennia and then be ready to stack the most perfect stack for Sunday's submission. But I remember we have to submit them by Sunday, which is about 5 days away. And if you're good at math, you know that 5 days is a lot less than 1700 years. Who would have thought? So I thought, gosh, that idea's out. I guess I'll have to pull back, right? Wrong. You see, in Wind and Truth, Gavinor was taken to the spiritual realm and lived there for 20 whole years training, and then he came back out the same day that he left because the spiritual realm is weird. I thought, hey, I'll just go to the spiritual realm myself, spend 1700 years there, I'll get really good at practicing to stack rocks, and I'll come back, I'll stack the best rocks you've ever seen, and I'll be just in time for Sunday's broadcast. But then I realized something important, and that's that 1700 years is a really long time. That would be really boring. Oh, also I would die of old age. That's a minor concern. But dying is really inconvenient, so I started thinking of ways that I could, not die over 1700 years of existence. And my idea was I could just compound atium, which is exactly how the Lord Ruler is able to survive for 1,000 years, and I think within reason he could have survived another 700 years on top of that, for sure. Lincoln, you say, atium doesn't exist anymore. I say it can. So I planned a whole trip where I would just go to Scadrial and steal some harmonium, then set up a whole bunch of lab equipment, and split that harmonium into atium and lerasium. And take that atium, store some of my age in there, tap it and burn it, and compound it, and then I would be just like the Lord Ruler, immortal for as long as I want to be. There is just one problem to that, and that's that I'm not an allomancer or a ferrochemist. And while I do have a bead of lerasium from that time I split the harmonium, meaning I could become a Mistborn and burn atium, I called my local hemalurgy clinic, and sadly they're out of atium fairing spikes. According to them, it's just because atium fairings don't exist anymore. Thanks a lot, Sazed. So compounding is out. I tried to think of some other ways to gain immortality. I thought of picking up a shard, but I don't have Nightblood lying around my house. And also there's so few shards in the cosmere that aren't splintered in some way. And half the ones that aren't could turn me into a vengeful god of war, or an impotent god of... What is Sazed even the god of? Or an impotent god of stasis, neither of which sounds very appealing to me. I thought about becoming a cognitive shadow, but like I said, death is really inconvenient. Also, can cognitive shadows even enter the spiritual realm? I don't know. I thought about picking up the Dawn Shard Exist, but that would just be a lot of extra unnecessary problems just so that I can stack rocks. And that's about when I realized even if I could gain some sort of reliable, decent method of immortality, none of my friends are bondsmiths, and last I checked there wasn't a perpendicularity in my neighborhood, so there's no way I could even get to the spiritual realm in the first place. Sadly, that means I can't go to the spiritual realm, and I can't spend 1700 years stacking rocks, and I'm back to square one. As a last resort, I did try soul stamping myself directly into Yumi. The stamp wouldn't take for some reason, though. Apparently, forging myself into a 1700-year-old woman cognitive shadow is a bit of a stretch, and none of my stamps took for even a second. Gosh, forgery is such a ripoff. It was at this point that I realized maybe I'm just overthinking this a little bit, and I need to just go out there and just stack rocks like a normal, uninvested human being. So that's sadly what I had to do. This is my first attempt at stacking rocks. I think it's pretty good. It's not nearly as good as Yumi could have gotten, but like we've established, I can't spend 1700 years practicing like Yumi, so there. Here's my second attempt. I tried to go for a more complicated shape. As you can see, it's kind of a tripod, sort of. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see if I can get more interesting stuff. So that would be kind of cool, honestly, but we'll see what happens. I decided to go and make a bunch of smaller rocks too. It's kind of fun. I did not think that it would be this much fun to just stack rocks and like make little rock cairn patterns with them. It's so fun, and they're so cute when you put them together. This one I was gonna make more complicated, like this rock kind of leans over. Oh, anyway, this rock leans over a bit, so I put this rock on top, and then this other one on top. Don't tell Yumi that fell. I tried putting a couple of rocks on here and expanding out, trying to set a counterbalance, but these kept falling, so I decided to not do that anymore. But yeah, that's the rock stacking so far, and it's really fun. I'll just go to the spiritual myself, spend 1700 years there, just stack and split that harmonium into atium and lerasium. Then take that atium and tap it. You see, in Wind and Truth, Odium pulled Gavnor into the spiritual realm, and he lived there for 20 years of his life, where he just got to train and practice against his father. You see, in Wind and Truth, I honestly, I did not think about how much fun it would be to actually like stalk that. I did not think that it would be that much. Where I can just practice stacking rocks for 2 millennia and then be ready to stack the most perfect stack for Sunday submission. For Sunday submission. I later called my hemorrhagy clinic. I did check with my local. Ow! Oh! Ow! Oh, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. I should not try that kind of intro. Ow! Ow! I wanted to like run on screen and fall into the chair, but then I hit my head. Ow!